There's no doubt we all have finances on our mind in retirement. Do we have enough money? When do we take Social Security? Big one, should we downsize?
Yeah, we love downsizing.
Love it.
Hey, having money is critical. We know that. But we're going to talk about other assets today that we need to manage that are just as important as our pension, our 401k, Social Security, and our savings.
You know, you can have an abundance of savings, but if you don't get these other assets right, you could find yourself in trouble during retirement.
You know, during our research, we found this great article in Kiplinger, and we're going to put the link down below, but it inspired us to think about what we're going to talk about today. And the first asset we want to talk about, the first non-financial asset, is your health. And I think it almost goes without saying how important your health is. But unlike the stock market, where you have no control over what happens with this asset, you have plenty of control here, don't you?
Well, you definitely have a lot more control than your financial assets in the stock market, especially over the past couple of years. If you can get out and exercise 20 minutes a day, just 20 minutes a day, that investment will extend your life.
Yeah, and you also can change your eating habits. We're guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. You're a lot better than me. But God, get rid of potato chips. Get rid of sweet stuff in the morning. I mean, I was pre-diabetic for a while, so I got rid of all sugar as best as I can. I still once in a while treat myself to a chocolate chip cookie, but that's if I ride my bike 3 days a week, I work out 5 days a week. You know what? I'm going to have a cookie. It's a treat.
It's a real treat.
Yeah.
See your doctor on a regular basis. This all falls under that health care, right? Men are guilty of not seeing their doctors on a regular basis, and women, actually, we do a little bit better. And another thing is reduce the number of hours you're watching TV. No matter what TV you're watching, it's a sedentary activity, and it's not good for you.
Now, all of these changes are going to increase the value of this asset, and they're going to extend your life. It's a small investment of creating new habits and time management, and you're going to see big gains here.
So the first non-financial asset was your health and wellness.
Right.
The second is a social network asset. So think about that for a second. There is significant science behind the fact that strong social networks can improve your happiness, extend your life, and definitely improve your health.
And the opposite of that is when you have a low level of social interaction, that's clearly linked by scientific studies to higher rates of heart disease, obesity, and alcohol abuse. Studies have shown that social isolation can be as bad as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
And you have plenty of control over this asset. It's all on you. Some ideas would be to have you research and join a club.
We just did that. We joined the Y. We're the YMCA down the street, and that's a new social network for us.
And the first day we were there, I think we met 10 people.
We met a couple that we met 15 years ago in business, and now we're hanging out with them.
Yeah, from Utah to Marco Island.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. Another thing that you have control over is to go out and meet your neighbors.
Yeah, how about our big plan?
We're going to have, at the end of January, we're going to do drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, but drinks in the driveway. And just have all the neighbors come, and we're just going to socialize.
We stuffed every neighbor's mailbox on our street. There's about 40 homes. And we introduced ourselves. We gave them our cell phone number and our email and said, we want to do drinks in the driveway. We want to meet all of you.
Right.
So send us, if you're interested, email us your contact information. We'll do a group text and we'll set a date and have, our next new best friend could be living, well,
who knows?
I'm not sure about next door, but maybe 2 houses away.
Oh, could be anywhere.
Yeah.
You mentioned the YMCA, and joining a gym and getting involved in classes and things there is also a very good way to enhance your network.
Right.
And along with that, trying a new sport. You know, if you try a new sport in a beginner's class, everyone in there is a beginner.
And you fail together, and you get better together. So you have to have the courage to do that. So that's a good one. The third one we want to talk about is, what about sense of purpose as an asset? The same guy I had breakfast with this morning, he said, there's one thing in my retirement I don't seem to have is a sense of purpose. And I looked at him and I said, are you out of your mind? You are physically fit. You're exercising. You're involved in 3 nonprofit boards. You're involved in a community board that works on water quality in the Marco Island area. And as he went through it, he thought to himself, geez, I guess I do. So you might actually have a sense of purpose, but when you realize you have it and you embrace it, you feel a lot better.
Yeah, in our online course, we spend a fair amount of time on what's your vision for your future, what excites you about things that you do each day. How would you use or reuse or kind of reinvigorate skills and talents that you've had over the course of your career up to now? And are you volunteering? Are you finding ways to give back? This asset actually takes a lot more investment than the first two, but is just as important.
All right, let's talk about learning as an asset. We are huge believers in the term lifelong learners. Did I get that right?
Long life learners.
Long life learners, or
Either way.
Yeah, learners. I mean, we arrive in retirement with a certain level of knowledge, with a certain level of biases, with a certain level of understanding how the world works and relationships and all of that. And it's all tainted by our corporate careers. We don't want to just stay at that level and not learn anything new because it gets stale and tired, and you need to exercise your brain. But you can certainly start to learn and just open up your mind to all kinds of things.
Absolutely. And you can do it in a number of different ways. You can, find and buy books, join a book club, look at online courses, look at your local community colleges. There is so many ways to open up these new pathways of long life learning. Studies have shown that it slows down cognitive decline if you continue to learn. And don't we all want to do that?
We do. We want to, my mom had dementia, so I'm really
sensitive.
Not worried about it. I'm
Yeah.
sensitive about it. Do a lot of reading about it. And a lot of it brings us back to, don't smoke, don't drink too much, exercise.
Right.
But you need to stimulate your brain. It's some studies say it's just like a muscle, like your heart, and your brain needs exercise and stimulation in order to grow. And there's even some people that say you can actually regenerate lost cells in your brain by stimulating.
Yeah, and again, just reading books, taking a college course, or one thing that we're not very good at that we should do, because not too far from us there are museums. We should really start to visit more museums. I know we do that when we're up in the Northeast because we have New York City right there, but
so let's commit. What's a museum?
Well, I know in Sarasota there's some amazing ones, which would be an overnight, and I would like
Is there
that.
one nearby?
There's one up by Christopher in Tampa.
All right, we'll go to Tampa. When we go to see Christopher, we're going to find a museum and do it.
Yep.
I like that idea.
The fifth asset that we'd like to talk about is having you learn to be optimistic. This really starts with you training your brain, which sounds easy, and it is easy, but a lot of people resist it. Just that way of thinking. When you open your eyes in the morning, what's your first thought? Is it, my back hurts? Or is it, I'm going to tackle this day? What's on my agenda? Having a new way to look at your glass is half full is so much better, and it's going to prolong your life.
I have a friend who has a saying that his glass is completely full all the time. He does not let negative thoughts, he doesn't let negative energy, he doesn't let negative feelings get in the way of his life.
Right.
And all of these things are feelings. They're not, it's in your head. And you can reframe any situation that's put in front of you and look at it in a more positive light. And, that sounds hard. And it can be hard if you believe it's hard. But like you said earlier, if you have that mindset, it can be easy.
Right. Just trying to use a positive lens and pay attention to the company you keep. Are the people you surround yourself with, are they positive? You need to find groups of positive people to create the energy.
The other thing that I think would be super helpful, it is for us, honestly, we watch very little news. Very little. As a matter
That's
of fact,
not to say we don't get news.
I know we get news, but we used to watch.
We read more news.
We used to watch the 30-minute cycle of news in the morning from 6 to 6:30, 6:30 to 7, 7 to 7:30. Sometimes the morning shows. It's the same stuff over and over again, and a lot of it just creates stress and anxiety because it's not happy stuff. So we watch less news.
Right.
We've really cut down on that. And the other thing that we all have to do.
Well, this is something I tell the kids all the time.
Well, go ahead then. Social media?
Yes.
Yeah.
Spend less time on social media comparing. Comparison is the robber of joy. And I believe that. And I say that to our kids all the time. And I say it to our circle of friends quite often as well. The other thing that we promote, and you've heard us say it before, is write in a journal every day. You know, when you start to list positive things in your journal, attributes about yourself, maybe positive attributes about your spouse or partner, positive attributes about your friends, you just start feeling more positive.
Yeah, and the other thing is you have to understand that you can't control everything. You just can't. You can't control the stock market. You can't control the weather. You can't control people around you, but you can control how you feel.
Right.
Getting out of bed each day with a mantra, I'm happy, I'm a good person, I'm grateful for so much, good morning, I love you, you look great today.
Thank you.
That just changes your gratitude. I think that if you thought of one thing you're grateful for, everybody can. But we want you to be grateful, for everything in your life. And it's not the easiest thing to do, but you can do it. If you do this on a regular basis, you can rewire your brain to think positively. So having a positive and optimistic attitude is one of the most valuable assets that you have complete control over to increase.
And it actually leads to the sixth one, which is mindful gratitude. Being mindful about your gratitude can make all the difference in the world. If you ask most people what they're grateful for, like you said, they can name something.
Sure.
But being truly grateful for everything in your life is just different. It's like optimism. It's an asset to be grateful.
I just thought of it. I have a new name for this, the Big Three.
Oh.
So, the Big Three.
Okay.
Every morning I journal. And I journal 3 things I'm grateful for. The first one's always Jody. And if you watch us for a long time, we should put the journaling guide here as
we could do
download.
that as a download.
We're going to put the journaling guide in here. But 3 things you're grateful for, 3 self-affirmations, say something positive about yourself, and 3 things you're looking forward to doing today that's coming up. That will every morning energize you to feel good and positive and exciting.
And something I've done for the past 5 years now, I mean, if you think about it, that's a lot
long
of time. But 5 years, every morning before 6 a.m., I text my 3 girls and my daughter's friend, Logan. And I text those 4 young ladies something super positive and inspiring for them every day. It lets them know that I'm thinking about them, and that in this way, whatever the quote or the meme or the funny video that I send them is for that morning, they know they're important, and I tell them that.
It's funny. I didn't tell you this, but I was out watching the sunrise this morning, and I get up early, jump in the car, and I go watch the sun come up. I texted all 3 girls.
Oh, you did?
But I really was thinking of Evan, Jordan, and Maddie, and I sent them each an individual text with a picture of the sunrise.
You didn't send one to Logan?
Logan's not my daughter, and I have enough trouble keeping up with the 4 women in my life now. But plus the plus ones, I know. Mariana, and then we're going through the whole
Jennifer.
thing. Jen, Anyway.
So listen, even if your financial assets are not where you want them to be, these assets we just talked to you about can grow in value with a little bit of investment from you, which in turn will make you grow as a person.
Yeah, and these assets can make all the difference in the world to your life, to your happiness, and your longevity. Now, if you like this video, where do you see this next one? Successful retirees do these 4 things. In this video, we highlight what you can do to crush your retirement. So please watch it next.